A single like or a retweet from Twitter can put you into trouble. That is, if the implementation of Republic Act number 10175 or the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 was not halted indefinitely by the Supreme Court February this year. The act seeks to address legal issues concerning online interactions and the internet in the country. Cybercrime offenses include cybersquatting, cybersex, child pornography, identity theft, illegal access or hacking, computer fraud, device misuse, and libel. Although lauded by advocates as a success in policing a very fluid medium like cyberspace, some provisions were put to question. The online libel, for instance, causes a chilling effect according to journalists and netizens, and the infringement of the people's basic human right to express. Welcome to Opposing Views, a hard, straightforward discussion of today's most pressing issues. The Cybercrime Prevention Act received mixed reactions from different sectors because of how its provisions potentially affect freedom of expression, speech, and data security. But it is undeniable that cyberspace has become a safe haven for criminals. Thus, an action needs to be done. Tonight, let's do a pulse check about the issue. Our question, does the Philippines need a cybercrime prevention law? Good evening, I'm Rod Nepomuceno, and this is Opposing Views. Joining us tonight in our discussion is Honorable Senator Edgardo Angara. Sir, your two cents worth on this law.
Well, we definitely need a framework so that everyone can use it responsibly.
All right. Yeah. And with us also is a blogger and a lead petitioner of Bloggers and Netizens for Democracy, Tonio Cruz. Tonio, what do you think about the cybercrime prevention law?
Well, the Republic Act 10175 is not that cybercrime prevention law that we need.
Okay.
That law, passed by Congress and signed by the President, is very unconstitutional.
All right. Okay. Now, we'll start off with what the UN stated. No? The UN has said that Internet access is a basic human right. Now, Senator, are we moving backwards in a way by providing too much punitive measures against expression in the internet?
No, on the contrary, we are moving forward because this is an entirely new frontier and it's almost without border. And unless you define the rights and obligation of the participants, then the larger users who just want to use it as a medium of communication and dialogue, etc., will be swamped by those who may have a different purpose. So this law is very much needed, and yes, expression, expression and speech is a basic human right, and the internet offers us both opportunity and peril. But on the other hand, as we lawyers used to say, my right to stretch my arm ends where my neighbor's nose begins.
Oh, yeah.
Because I cannot punch him. I cannot
your friend.
move freely. Yes.
All right. Otherwise, he won't be your friend anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Now, Tonio, do you believe that internet access is a basic human right and thus should be unabridged, should not have any restraints?
I personally agree with the developments in the UN level. Internet access is fast evolving into a fundamental right for people, as both as a medium of expression, both as a also a place of business, and then a place for engagement among government, business, the public, and media, of course.
All right.
I don't think the government gets it. The government stands on the wrong footing regarding internet access. It would have been nice if the Senate and Congress passed a law providing internet access to the 2/3 of the Philippine population that still do not have internet access. But what did it do? What did the President do by signing the law authored by Senator Angara? They criminalized this new way of life of the Filipino. Instead of providing internet access to the 2/3, they put so many questionable and unconstitutional restraints on the 1/3 of our population that already have internet access.
Yung extending to 2/3 of our population, the backbone so that you will enable others to use the internet, that is a mechanical administrative matter. That's not a constitutional right. What is constitutional is that once available, then every citizen should be able to use it freely, but it should not do harm to your fellows.
But Senator,
Sandali lang.
most of the progressive
Sandali lang.
countries today, they are laying out national broadband networks for their citizens
Yes,
because they get the point about the internet. The internet is not there to be controlled. The internet provides opportunities for people to express themselves, to do business, for the public to communicate with their government. So let's focus first on the rule. The rule must be to provide unimpeded access to the public.
Let's focus first on your premise. Now, but once 33 million Filipinos have access to the internet, then you must protect 1/3 of our people who have access to the internet, and also discourage those irresponsible who will hack your card, who will steal your identity, who will throw everything at
Tonyo,
you.
do you agree that there are irresponsible users in the internet?
In any event, in anything that we do,
Right.
there's always a positive and a negative.
Do you not agree that there should be some kind of regulation to these malefactors, these bad people in the internet? Okay.
The rule must state that the internet must be free from government interference, because only in an atmosphere of freedom could the internet be a positive tool for progress, for business, for education, and so forth.
No,
and even for citizen engagement. The moment that the government focuses first on exceptions like focusing on so-called preventing cybercrime, there's already a problem.
He's talking of two different things there. Data protection is covered by a separate law that upholds the privacy of people, and that recognizes the fundamental right to privacy and to now what is being not restricted but regulated in a sense is the 33 million Filipinos who want to use the internet for communication, for dialogue, for business, for distance education, etc. And we want that those 33 million Filipinos to be able to use it fully and usefully.
Let's talk about the libel portion, because that seems to be the sticking point. Sajad, do you think we're kind of moving backwards? Because there are a lot of countries, they're decriminalizing libel already. And here we are, all of a sudden in our cybercrime law, we're even increasing the penalty.
My thought on that is, I think I was even ahead of everyone in calling for decriminalizing libel. I've called for that as early as in the 90s. But you've got to decriminalize it, not in this cyber law crime. You've got to decriminalize it under the penal code, as you know, Rod, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
Unless you cut the mother, just cutting off a branch will not solve the problem. What is wrong with the libel provision of the cyber law crime? I think it's the addition of almost doubling the penalty.
The penalty, yeah.
Because libel, whether by broadcast, in print, or internet, is the same.
But generally, you agree that it should be penalized, right?
That should be
okay. Now,
decriminalized.
Tonyo, you think libel should be criminalized?
Libel should be decriminalized. Libel should be thrown out of the books, the law books.
Whether TV, whether
defamation. And then we should have a system of fines and other penalties that would not necessitate a person to be sent to jail just for committing defamation. But it's included in the law.
Yeah.
So there's no debate about the good senator's track record in fighting for the decriminalization of libel. The point is, libel is included in the cybercrime law, and the law that you authored that went to the president doubled or increased the penalty for it.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, Tony. I'm not the only author of that cyber. There are about maybe 10 senators who co-authored it with me. But anyway, that's beside the point. But my point is that as long as the penal code on libel exists, and a broadcaster can be sued for defamation or libel, and the writer can be sued for libel, there's no difference in a blogger like you
For example,
calling.
Senator,
Wait a minute.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on.
There's no difference between you calling me a thief through the internet. Is the same. So that's why I said you cut the root, not just simply the brands.
The internet is a place for sharing.
Yeah.
It's a place for communicating.
Yeah.
So there's a very big problem if, for example, a post on the internet, whether on Tumblr or on Facebook, is later found to be a subject of a libel case. Under some of the provisions of this law, like abetting a crime, there might be an interpretation of the law that would criminalize the liking or the sharing or the retweeting of certain posts. So the inclusion of libel in this law is problematic. I'm all for punishing defamation.
All right.
But in the Philippines, it's libel. You will be jailed.
No,
right?
it's the same. Just a matter of nomenclature.
Yes.
But you see, your interpretation that a like or an insinuation could be a libelous, that's false. Any lawyer will tell you that you will not be prosecuted for libel.
There was, immediately after the law was implemented, in a few hours, there was an activist in Cagayan protesting against magnetite mining. He posted several articles on Facebook. He was charged under the RA 10175 by the local authorities.
Okay, well, let's. I know we'll probably delve in this libel aspect quite long. But let's move on to another topic of the cybercrime law, which is this time naman the privacy of data. You mentioned earlier that
there's a privacy.
Yeah, there's another law.
There's another law that guarantees and protects the information that you provide to a provider, like.
So it's not covered by this cybercrime?
No, that's not covered.
That's not true.
But
that's not true. It would have been better if the Solicitor General was also here, because there were pointed questions during the Supreme Court arguments, oral arguments about the issue of privacy. You know, the world has changed. So, although we have, but privacy remains important. So social media and the internet contains very personal information. The food that we like, stuff that we buy online, are very intimate information. There's a provision on real-time gathering of data without the need for a warrant, just for due cause.
Now, unfortunately, I have to cut you off there because we have to take a short break, Senator. Sorry about that. We'll need to take a short break. This is a very interesting topic, of course. But this time, let's look at our viewers' opinion on the issue through our online poll. Our question, does the Philippines need a cybercrime prevention law? The result so far is 70% said no, we don't need a cybercrime law, while 30% said yes. Now join the discussions online. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/solar opposing views, or follow us also on Twitter at opposing_views using the hashtag #OVCybercrime. We'll need to take a short break. More issues about the cybercrime prevention law when Opposing Views returns. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Opposing Views. Still with us, Honorable Senator Edgardo Angara and Tonyo Cruz. We're asking tonight, does the Philippines need a cybercrime prevention law? Let's talk about the capability of government. I mean, a lot of people generally view the government as a little bit archaic, a little behind, even our laws. No? And in fact, our laws are not, should I say, at par or are going according to the times, diba? Right. I mean, our revised penal code, for example, is so archaic. But I'd like to talk about our courts and are the ones who will be implementing the cybercrime law. Are we capable? Are the authorities ready and capable to implement this in a way that it does not affect people's rights?
There are people in the NBI, in the PNP, and in the Justice Cybercrime section that are quite capable and up to date and quite tech savvy. But you cannot say that of the whole law enforcement agency. And that's why, as a matter of precaution, we said we are going to provide 50 million per agency to do this capability building, this competence.
Because we have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's right. But we've got to start somewhere. And we even went beyond that and provide, and this is quite unusual because usually yung special courts is only for family and domestic. We said, no, let's have
now,
a specific.
I'm sorry, because there are very limited time and we have to go to some of the aspects of the law also. Let's go to specifics now regarding some aspects that the cybercrime law addresses, like sex video uploads and going viral, online bullying, inciting to sedition and rebellion. Obviously, you must have some thoughts on that. These are not. If someone, let's say, an ex-girlfriend of yours or an ex-lover of yours uploads a video online, you'd have an issue with that.
We already have a law regarding online video.
Okay.
There's no provision about cyberbullying in this law.
Okay.
Absolutely none. No mention of cyberbullying.
Would you like one? Would you like it to be?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So okay.
Because that's a specific offense, and then we will talk about how it would be combated, how we would fight it, how we would penalize it.
But
buti na lang alam ni Senator na the police and the other authorities have their special units. Apparently, sila lang yung na-consult dito sa law na to. The netizens weren't.
Okay.
There were no massive or widespread consultations.
Saja, you think there was no consultation in this law?
You know, we started this law, yung public hearing, public consultation, in May of 2012, and we didn't go to the plenary until January. And in between May and January was intensive public hearings. We created even a technical working group. And I'm sure if you look back at the print and broadcast media, they've been publicizing this public hearing. Precisely because I'm conscious that we are treading an entirely new ground. We are going to break new ground. And we don't want, and since this entails some punishment, some punitive aspect, we've got to be careful that we don't stamp on someone else.
I think it might be a little impractical also that the entire internet, population will be called for consultation now. But in this regard, do you think there was enough consultation, or I think the position you take is it's not.
If there was adequate information,
any consultation.
There would have been ways for citizens to help the good senator and the other authors remedy the questionable provisions of the law. But even the media was surprised when the president signed it September 12 last year. It was a complete shock.
The National Press Club was there all the time.
I think we cannot say that the public was ready at that time. To be fair, to the 15 petitions filed before the court, there wasn't any broad support for this law in the first place, except, for example, the BPO industry. But the BPO Industry Association spoke after the law was signed, and they said, baka sumobra naman yata yung binigay ng gobyerno dito sa law. Even the organizations supportive of this law.
Well, I'll be the first to say that this is not a perfect law, not Tonyo. That's why when they asked my opinion, the Solicitor General asked my opinion, I pointed out to him, for instance, the libel law. Let's repeal the revised penal code, and let's remove the additional penalty for internet libel. On that data, if they want, I said, we should recommend to Congress, and we prepared an amendment for that purpose, that we specify only data traffic flow, no other thing, and include even a penalty for any law enforcement to go and transgress that boundary.
Okay. You know, maybe if we could clone you, Mr. Senator, we could clone you and multiply you across the country okay lang. But
And
it
then-
would be the
No,
local
no,
police
that's
who will
impossible.
decide.
Yeah,
It will be the
right.
local fiscals
Yes,
who
yeah.
decide.
Nasa
Upon
ano
the
yan?
reading of the law.
I understand.
Uh,
what- I
the good
understand your
intentions
thing.
are not enough. Good
No, no,
intentions
no,
are never,
no, no.
are never
No,
enough.
I'm sorry.
You know, Tonya,
Quick
good
one, sir.
intention nga, it doesn't mean anything. Eh.
Yes, sir.
That's why we have to draw it in black and white practically
That's right.
in the law
Okay.
to draw up the precautionary provision.
All right. Now, a final question. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I think we should need a part 2 for the show, for this debate. But quick soundbite, Saja. Have we reached a point that there's been just too much abuse on the internet that we really just need to have laws to regulate it?
Well, the fact that government systems are hacked, money are stolen from banks, identities are borrowed or so-called borrowed and misused for personal gain. That young girls, teenagers, even Bobby Soxers commit suicide because their naked body goes viral. And this not just here in the Philippines, but also in China, in Canada, in the UK, in Europe, all over. And the very fact that all these crimes are being committed, you mean to say that we close our eyes just simply because this is a new medium,
All right.
and that it will become like the wild, wild west, a lawless society?
All right.
No, I don't think that's the case.
Okay, Tonyo, quick soundbite. You think we've reached a point that we're abusing this and therefore need some kind of regulation?
No, the internet
By
is a
itself,
positive force. As we have used it for the past few years. Now, there are many crimes happening.
Right.
There are many bad things happening. But those are exceptions. But when we try to lay down the law regarding the internet, it must be very specific. It must not be overbroad as to criminalize the majority that use it for in a positive way.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Senator.
No disagreement,
Tonyo.
no disagreement
Yeah.
with that principle.
And unfortunately, that's the only time that we have. I would like to thank you for sharing your thoughts on this very touchy topic. Now, according to the Department of Justice, 9 out of 10 internet users have been victims of cybercrimes and malicious activities now in the internet. Now, well, there is indeed a need for a cybercrime prevention law as soon as possible. But we can't let out emotions drag us to passing a law that is not perfectly crafted to serve the people. Case in point, the halted Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. If it had not been for its critics, many will not notice, including few senators who actually signed it, the questionable provisions, especially the crime on the libel clause. Now, a genuine cybercrime law should not harass or intimidate, but rather protect its people. But this doesn't mean we don't need law and order in cyberspace. Our freedom is not absolute, but we must fight any attempt of the state to abuse its power towards its citizens. Now at this point, let's take a final look at our online poll. Our question, does the Philippines need a cybercrime prevention law? The accumulated votes from all our online platforms, yes, 35%, and no, 65%. And that's our opposing views for tonight. Tune in again next week for another bold and engaging discussion on the most relevant issues of today. I'm Rod Nepomuceno. Good night and God bless.